The midday sun scorched the savannah so fiercely that the air shimmered above the ground. The birds had fallen silent, and the grass had blackened under the heat. In this stillness, a little girl of about 10 walked along a dusty road. Her name was Aisha. In her hands, she carried an empty clay jar, which already seemed heavier than the girl herself. In her village, the well had long since dried up. Every day, women and children walked farther and farther in search of water. But that morning, the adults had gone in a different direction, and Aisha decided to try on her own to find even the smallest spring. She believed she could help her family. At first, the path seemed easy, but the farther she walked, the more the sun scorched her skin. Her bare feet touched the burning sand, her lips cracked with thirst. The jar banged against her knees, growing heavier with every step. Hours passed, the shadows vanished. The ground beneath her feet split like broken glass. The girl stopped more and more often, gasping for breath. And then, with one careless step, she slipped and fell into a deep crack in the earth. The sand rustled, the walls of the fissure crumbled. Aisha screamed. The jar slipped from her hands and shattered. She found herself trapped, buried up to her chest in sand, the walls too steep to climb. She stretched her arms upward, clawing at the dirt, but it only crumbled down into her face. She began to cry, calling for her mother, but her voice dissolved in the sweltering air. It seemed no one would hear her. Her heart pounded in her chest with fear. And then, a massive shadow fell above her. Aisha looked up and froze. Towering over her stood a giant elephant. His ears gently swayed, his eyes were deep and wise. The girl was terrified he might crush her, but instead the elephant lowered his head and stretched down his trunk. With trembling hands, Aisha grabbed hold. The elephant pulled, but the sand clung tightly to her. Then he stepped back and began digging with his feet and tusks. Dust rose into the air, the ground shook. He widened the fissure, breaking it open until, at last, the girl was freed and crawled out. She stood, covered in sand, her arms scratched, staring at her savior. The elephant quietly shook his head and picked up a surviving shard of her broken jar. Then he turned and began walking forward, stopping and looking back, as if inviting her to follow. Aisha didn't know what to do, but her heart told her she must go. The girl walked beside him, holding his trunk with her hand. Their journey lasted long. As the sun dipped toward the horizon, the elephant suddenly stopped. Before them, hidden among rocks and dry grass, lay a secret oasis, a small spring no one in the village had ever known. Clear water bubbled among the stones, and bushes thrived around it. Aisha rushed to the water, drank deeply, and scooped as much as she could into her hands. The elephant dipped his trunk into the spring and sprayed water into the air, as if rejoicing with her. The girl laughed through her tears, feeling alive for the first time that day. She collected water in the shard of the broken jar and carried it home. When Aisha returned to the village, she was met with shouts of joy. She showed the way to the spring, and all the villagers followed her. The elephant walked ahead, as if he knew he was expected. From that day on, the elders told the children, sometimes God sends help not through people, but through those we call animals. And every time the villagers walked to the new spring, where the cool water murmured, they saw giant footprints in the earth. The elephant always returned there, like a silent guardian. And for Aisha, he remained forever a friend who had given her not only life, but also faith in miracles.